This is Noir Alley. I'm your host, Eddie Muller. Today's film combines the talents of so many revered artists, it seems slightly out of place in the nasty netherworld of noir. Clash by Night, released by RKO in 1952, may have a tonier pedigree than a lot of the movies we show here, but it has enough lust, bitterness, and existential ennui for a dozen movies. The indoor fireworks ignited in this one should satisfy any hardcore noirista. It's produced by Jerry Wald, who after 18 years as a writer-producer at Warner Brothers, left the studio to forge out on his own. He and partner Norman Krasna, they were known as the Whiz Kids in Hollywood, signed a deal with Howard Hughes, the owner of RKO, as an independent production unit for the struggling studio. Hughes's erratic stewardship had RKO in dire straits, and despite ample warnings about the boss's often berserk management, Wald believed he and Krasna could reverse RKO's fortunes, which by late 1950 was hemorrhaging hundreds of thousands of bucks a week. It was a tumultuous time, not only for RKO, but Hollywood in general, as anti-communist crusaders sowed paranoia in the film capital. Even as Hughes shelled out $150 grand to buy Wald's contract from Jack Warner, he used the witch hunt as an excuse to fire most of RKO's rank-and-file employees, vowing that only freedom-loving Americans would be employed at his studio. Odd, then, that for one of their first projects, Wald and Krasna bought the rights to Clash by Night, a 10-year-old play by Clifford Odets, perhaps the highest-profile writer on the HUAC Committee's list of suspected communists. Well, why did Jerry Wald do that? Mainly because he didn't give a rip about politics. He thought the play would make a swell vehicle for his partner in crime, Joan Crawford. They'd made 4 pictures together at Warner's, including Joan's 1945 comeback hit, Mildred Pierce. Wald knew Crawford's contract was ending at Warner's and that the studio was eager to dump her. Clash by Night was intended to kickstart Joan's third act in Hollywood. As Hughes slashed the ranks of studio workers, Wald and Krasna announced, not coincidentally, their new production philosophy, shooting on location as much as possible. And that brought another important player into the mix, associate producer Harriet Parsons. An RKO veteran since 1943, Parsons was the daughter of powerful Hollywood columnist Luella Parsons. The Whiz Kids made Parsons the on-location producer of their films, which in this case meant keeping a rein on the artistry and arrogance of director Fritz Lang, who typically was either rude or indifferent to female colleagues. Lang, however, was desperate for work, fearing that his own blacklisting was imminent. He was on his best behavior as he and Parsons scouted locations in Monterey, California, where the film would be shot in and around Cannery Row, the heart of the town's commercial fishing industry. Well, as fate would have it, Crawford passed on the project, leaving the producers to settle for their second choice, the best actress in the business. The character of May Doyle was right in Barbara Stanwyck's wheelhouse. This was Babyface's Lily Powers coming home 20 years later, sadder and wiser after being batted around by love and loss. That the role was written by a communist and directed by a noted left-winger didn't faze the conservative Stanwyck. Tallulah Bankhead had originated the role on stage, and Stanwyck was ready to claim it as her own. May is a female version of a character familiar in film noir, the alienated, disillusioned guy torn between the love of a good woman and the bad girl who ignites his worst impulses. Playing the good guy is Paul Douglas, a one-time sportscaster who shot to fame on Broadway for his hilariously crude portrayal of Harry Brock in the play Born Yesterday. Douglas was replaced by Broderick Crawford in the 1950 film version, so here, opposite the most respected actress in the business, he relished the chance to show his true range. As the story's homme fatale, Walden Krasna ran through choices that in hindsight seem utterly baffling. Jeff Chandler, Robert Walker, Charlton Heston, before realizing the perfect actor was already under contract to RKO, Robert Ryan. He'd even been in the original Broadway show, but in the role of Joe Doyle, May's younger brother. Here he plays Earl Pfeiffer, a sinister, swaggering, and very lonely movie projectionist who puts a match to Stanwyck's fuse. I can't think of another actor Stanwyck let get under her skin this way. It is a compelling matchup, especially in the clinches. Now, as brilliant as the main players are, it was a supporting actress who dominated all the publicity. Marilyn Monroe had been borrowed from 20th Century Fox, and RKO's PR department milked her nubility for all it was worth. I'll have more to say about Marilyn on the other side. Now, the title of Clifford Odets's play was inspired by the end of the 1867 poem Dover Beach. And we are here as on a darkling plain, swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies clash by night.